Happy New Year, Aquarius, and welcome to your January 2026 energies. Are you ready? Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Cello, all Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to your Transformational Tarot for the energies of January of 2026. And this is for you, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. Also, if you want to look at your Aquarius, Venus, and Mars placements, and if you have an Aquarius in your life that you love, always great to, stay on top of what's going on in their world so that you guys can have, sort of better synergy and understand where they're coming from. So this week, or this month, I should say, we are pulling an overarching theme for you from the Healing Spirits from Gordon Smith. And then the deck that called to me for you guys today is the Tridevia Tarot deck. This is one of my favorites. I love it. I've had it for a couple of years, and it always gives just really incredible messaging. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so as I am shuffling up and getting your theme, I have some really exciting news that I'd like to share. After 11 years of being on YouTube, I finally have reached whatever algorithmic threshold it is to be able to offer memberships to you guys. So if you're interested in becoming one of my fabulous phoenixes, you can check out the join button to see the 3 different tiers that I offer. Let's keep the conversation going. Okay, Aquarius, true love can never really be lost. Ooh. Okay, so I'm feeling like January is really bringing about, I want to say, verification and validation of feelings. Was this real? Was this person's feelings for me real? Did I make it up in my head? Where am I at in all of this? Is there something more that I could have done, should have done? I feel like these are the questions that are going to be coming up for you. I want to say from a subconscious level, from an emotional level. Not to say that January is going to be an overly emotional month, but I do feel like your reflections, you don't need to be psychic to know that pretty much everybody's doing some kind of reflective, or most people are doing some kind of reflective energy. It is January. That's just kind of how we operate in the collective because it's a new year. But your reflections are going to be very specific to previous dynamics where you're going to be questioning, did I do the right thing? Did I read into that too much? Did I really feel those things? Did they really feel those things? Was the situation that I thought happening really happening? And I feel like a lot of you are going to be getting proof around that. It's kind of like, I'll just use the analogy, years and years and years and years ago when I was still working in sort of the public sector, and not, running my own business. I had a situation with a job where I thought I was crazy. I mean, I understand it now. We didn't have all these terms that we have today to explain it, but I was being constantly gaslit in this situation. And I ended up, just leaving the job and being very confused about what was going on. And it wasn't until, 6 months later, I was at another job and someone from that old place, or the former place, came in and, started telling me, this and that and the other thing about what's going on at work. And, you were right about this and you were right about that. And I mean, I was just like, my jaw dropped, like flabbergasted, because I'm like, okay, I'm grateful that I understand now that this wasn't all me, like this, that I didn't make this all up in my head, because I left feeling that way. So I feel like this whole true love can never really be lost. And I want to say the truth about the frequency of love can never be lost. So I feel like you're going to find out about, former relationships where, you thought maybe that you were the only one in the situation that was interested, or had, you had the feelings, but they didn't have the feelings or the feels, whatever the case may be. You're going to be receiving a lot of proof around that. And I feel like it's going to be important that you utilize the proof that you're given to help clear your head and to help eliminate stories that you've been telling yourself around the situation. I feel like this is going to be an opportunity where you're going to have some healing you're going to be able to do, because the stories that you've been telling yourself and the behavioral choices that you've made consequently are no longer relevant. And so I feel really good about that. Currently, where are you at right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Interesting. Here we have the Page of Swords. So I'm feeling that you want a fresh start. You're trying to separate the wheat from the chaff. I feel like some of you are really trying to, I won't think about that today, I'll think about that tomorrow, kind of approaches. And I would say to you, be cautious about this. This is not a time to ignore what you're feeling, to ignore what you're receiving. It's also not a time to bury your head in the sand. And I would say be very cautious about who and what you're cutting out of your life. Now, the Page of Swords also can indicate some level of message or messenger energy that's coming through. And I do feel that when we're talking about you in the present moment with this transformational energy, you can be the messenger. You are the person who has some information that you're trying to pass on and to give. But at the end of the day, you know, what's the saying? Don't shoot the messenger, right? Like, you didn't create the message, you're just passing it on. And I feel like this is going to help you to determine where you're going to be putting more of an investment of your time and your energy. If you're passing this information on to someone and they want to take your head off because you've just passed information on, that might not be a person that you want to, you know, say, I can safely, you know, take the time to connect with this person, right? I'm really feeling like January is going to give you an opportunity to get clear, about what needs to be healed, to get clear about what you truly love and are connecting to, and to, in essence, make a plan in terms of how you're going to move forward. The plan is in the thinking stage. It's in the realm of the mind. You haven't put action steps to it yet. That will come. But it's also about giving yourself permission to get eager about it, to get excited about something new that you are actively participating in. But you also got to own your choices. That's what I keep hearing. So sorry, I feel like I'm a little esoteric all over the map. We'll see what the rest of the cards have to say. But this is going to be a really big month for you in terms of getting clarity around who you really are choosing to be. All right, Catalyst, what's fueling or hindering your transformation? Is this resistance or rocket fuel? Oh, I love this. Yes, new starts, big time new starts. You know, even if we look at this character, it looks very similar. I mean, slightly different, but similar in its, you know, similar in its dress, similar in its approach. You know, this one is looking off in the same direction. Either I'm taking my marbles and going home, like I'm taking my sword and going home, or raising the sword to strike. The Fool has the wand with his satchel on the back of his wand, and he's open-hearted, right? He's opening himself up. So I feel like the catalyst here for you as the Fool in the beginnings is going to take you out of a more defensive posture and open you up into the new journey, the new adventure. I'm really drawn to the snake here. And this, actually, it's two snakes wrapped around his left foot. So left is the divine feminine. Left is connected to past energies. It's also connected to healing, receiving, things of that nature. And snakes are wisdom, snakes are transformation, snakes are about healing. So I feel like the Fool is not going to be able to, you know, calmly, smoothly move forward until they've addressed the wounds, until they've addressed those snakes that are saying, hey, you need to pay attention. You got to pay attention here. Yeah, I'm going to put some light. I've got some weird light going on. Maybe this will help with some of the cards. to see the beauty of them. They're all, nice and shiny. Um, so I feel like the catalyst is the wounding that's going to be showing up. And like I said, you're receiving validation. So that means that you're going to be able to tell yourself some different stories. But you've got to make the choice, and you've got to make the time in your life to be able to evaluate what that is, to kind of take a look and say, okay, so if all of those things that I thought are no longer true, what is my truth right now? How can I, move forward, heal myself from this so that this no longer hinders me? Excuse me just for a moment. I'm going to turn on another light here. Okay, here we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving this transformation under the surface? Yes, a stolen victory. Working so hard at something because you really believed that you were in it to win it. You believed that another person or other people or a circumstance was also working just as hard, that the goal was the same, and finding out in the end that, the joke's on you, the last laugh is on you. And that you're looking at that going, wow, I put in so much time and effort, and I didn't even realize that I was involved in someone else's game, that I was a pawn in someone else's game. And I feel like this is definitely the wound, right? That you're healing. You were betrayed, or you were bamboozled, you were duped. And, this hurts our pride. This hurts our ego. Our ego voice says, oh, hell no, never again. Not allowing that to occur, not allowing that to happen. And then the ego kind of takes over. And before you know it, you've shut yourself down and shut yourself off from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, the bad and the ugly, sure. Okay, but what about the good? And that creates a situation where you're, in the hamster wheel. You're stuck. You're not really growing. You're not getting to a place where you can evolve past something. It's the snake that is always wrapped around your foot that keeps you one foot in the past. So I really feel like the Six of Wands is coming up because that is the wound that is going to be coming up in various different situations and circumstances throughout the month of January. And don't be afraid to look at them. Sorry, Kat, just trying to adjust the camera. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. It was Morpheus this time, not Neo. Wrap it up on the camera. So yes, stolen victory. And I want to say, in this wounding and this healing, there also needs to be a component of forgiveness of self, first and foremost, and then forgiveness of other. That's going to be coming up pretty big, in pretty obvious ways. I feel like the universe is not going to allow you to not see it for what it is. So just kind of be prepared for that. What's dying away? What part of you is falling away? What role, pattern, or identity has run its course? Oh, interesting. Yes, leaping before you've looked. Moving so quick through a process, or cutting someone off so quickly, and burning the bridge, or burning the connection or the contact, that you end up cutting your nose off to spite your face. It ends up hurting you. It doesn't necessarily, well, it might hurt the other person, but the issue and the growth and the healing is going to come from you recognizing where you've gotten in your own way. And in January, I'm feeling, especially from a workplace perspective, this wounding may be on a personal level, but it's going to bleed into the work dynamic. And, even if someone else is in the wrong in that circumstance, because of the response, the reaction, or your lack of response or reaction, because you've cut yourself off emotionally in order to avoid feeling this, it's going to jump up and bite you in the ass. So take your time, pay attention to what's coming up, pay attention to what people are saying, what people are doing, And, it's not like you have to be hyper vigilant, but you do need to be very observant. You need to be present. You need to be really focused in what the universe is showing you, what the world is bringing into your path, because there's important information into that, so that you don't get duped again. That's what happens a lot of times. We're trying to avoid getting duped so much to the point where we get ourselves into knots, and then we attract, because that's what our focus is, subconscious or otherwise. We end up attracting situations and circumstances to ourselves that bring us the same experience over and over again, until we are able to grow beyond it, to heal from it, and to release it and let it go. So 8 of Wands is swift release. You want to be able to swiftly release this stuff, but you've got to deal with it first. Highest Phoenix potential. What can rise from the ashes? What is your soul calling you toward? This is the breakthrough energy, the Hermit. So loving this. And here's why. Sometimes we have to do the deep dive self-awareness journey in order to really be able to understand how we got ourselves into this situation, so that we can, on a healthy level, and looking at it dead in the eyes, can address these things before we get into that kind of situation again. The Hermit card also is a 9 energy, so it implies endings. This is an opportunity for you to end this approach so that you can start something new that is healthy and more aligned with the vision and the version of yourself. Remember, I said this month, it's really about who do you want to be. And you're going to be faced with it and faced with it and faced with it and faced with it. So better to address it and make those choices on the first couple tries, rather than waiting, for the 8th or the 9th or the 10th time that it's going to show up. This does not need to be about shame. This does not need to be about hating yourself because you made a human choice, a human decision, moving in that direction. This is the universe saying, we want what's best for you. We want to see you thriving and super happy, and never having to revisit this particular cycle again. That's not what this is about. We want you not to have false victory. We want you to have what you are entitled to, what you've worked for, what you've manifested. But you've got to know yourself, and you've got to understand what choices you made that put you in the path of these outcomes, so that you can look it in the eyes and recognize it the next time it shows up in your world. There's an opportunity for you here to end the patterns and cycles and to move into something that is more aligned, but also more energizing, more life affirming. But you've got to choose it. And Aquarius, sometimes that means having to go it alone, or needing to connect with someone who's not going to blow smoke up your ass. They're going to give you the honest to goodness truth. Not to say, Aquarius, that you're denying yourself. For some of us, yeah, it is denial, but this is tough stuff. And because we're dealing with the subconscious, it very well could be that you didn't realize it, or you don't see it. We don't know what we don't know until we know it. And then when we know better, we do better. So I feel like this is that phase that you're in. You didn't know, but now you have the opportunity to understand it. And then when you understand it, the next time you're going to make a different decision. You're going to be more informed and healed as a result of it. So not carrying around shame. When we hang on to shame, it keeps us in that pattern and cycle as well. So no room for shame here. What's emerging just around the corner? What energy or experience is coming in to support the next phase? Another 6. Interesting. 6 is harmony, balance, and alignment. A true love can never really be lost. Also energy never really disappears. It just changes shape and form. 6, harmony, balance, alignment. We've been talking about, what are you aligning to? Who are you choosing to be? Who do you want to be? And 6 of Cups is that card of nostalgia. So I feel like there is in January going to be this, I don't want to say knight in shining armor because that implies something different entirely. But for lack of better words, just go with me here on the rough analogy here. There is going to be, maybe the better analogy is an earth angel or an angel in disguise. There's going to be somebody that shows up that is going to remind you of your good qualities. It's going to remind you of all of the times where this wasn't a factor. And it's going to put you in a frequency where you recognize, okay, all is not lost. You know, I did this one thing, but I can now break out of it. You know, it's possible not to go backwards, but it's possible because I've been here before, because I've, you know, made the right choice before, then I know that I've already got foundation and a blueprint to make the right choice for myself again. It's a matter of figuring out what the right choice is. And figuring out what the right choice is connecting to my truest desires. What is it that I'm really wanting? And sometimes we can figure that out from past experience. Well, I know I don't want this. So, okay, great. You don't want this. You might not know exactly what you want, but now you know you don't want this. That is a huge piece of information that is going to be beneficial to how you move forward. So, I really feel here like there's clarity, there is an opening, there is potential to grow in leaps and bounds, to take that new journey, to reconnect with a victory that is more significant than, you know, the past experience, and to get to know yourself in the process. This is what is emerging for you. But I also want to say you have to really want it. You have to be seeking it out. And what I mean by that is you got to have your eyes wide open. Some of this has occurred because you were like, la, 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 I'm not listening. I won't think about that today. I'll think about that tomorrow. You're not going to be able to do that this time. In January, I mean, your angels and guides are just not going to let it happen. The universe is not letting it happen. So, you know, understand that, you know, this is one of those things where you say something and it's like instant karma or, you know, instant validation. I'm just thinking about this one time. This happened so many years ago. My mom and dad were in the backyard. You know, I don't remember now. It was so long ago. I don't remember if I was there or if I just heard my mother telling the story, but I can hear her laughing her ass off. So something tells me I was there. Anyway, my father was saying something very flippant. He was being a bit arrogant, and he was doing it on purpose, you know, doing with a smile, you know, gaslighting, basically. My father was really good at gaslighting for a time there. And he said something, and she was in the process of saying, like, how can you even say that? You're so wrong. And a bird pooped on his head in that very instant. He got a big splat. And I mean, the two of them just giggled and laughed, because my father was like, okay, yeah, I was giving you a line of shit. And, you know, they're very religious. So they saw that as a sign from God, that, you know, God was calling him out on his lie. You know, he was trying to pass something off, you know, as being truthful because he didn't want to own it. That's kind of the energy of what I'm feeling. There's going to be that instant validation either way, you know? So you want to be really careful, but also, this is here to help you. It's happening to help you, and it's happening quickly and in real time, because your angels and guides don't want you stuck in this cycle anymore. I almost feel like January gets you out of the cycle, or at the very minimum, gets you to a place where you're recognizing it's time to get out of the cycle. I don't want to be in this cycle anymore. I understand that I need to do something different. And once you make that choice, the universe is going to support that, because on the other side of it, there's so much more that you can grow into and that you're really going to enjoy. And I feel that there's an accelerated timeline around it, but you've got to do this work first. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stuck, right? And you're prolonging the growth, the new you, that type of thing. Okay. Your role in this process, how are you navigating this transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? So you're resting on your laurels a little bit. You're trying to tell yourself that everything that I have is enough. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying that's bad, but I am saying that I feel like it's a little bit of a cop out for some of you. Please don't shoot the messenger. I'm just giving you what your guides are saying. I'm sorry, they're being a little very direct, I want to say, with you this month. So said with love, and PS and FYI, my guides can be harsh with me like this too. So I feel you. This is the invitation for you to recognize, yes, pay attention to all that you have, focus on the gratitude of things, but don't sit back on your laurels and allow this to be the reason that you don't do the intimate, personal, inner deep dive, right? This says, well, I know I should have that conversation, but I'm avoiding the conflict. I'm avoiding the addressing the situation. So like, well, I've got enough. Maybe I can just put it off to next week. Or, I mean, this can be as simple as, and I do this all the time. Well, I probably should go out and replace, this particular spice, but you know what? Like, I just want to kind of hang on to the money, or I'm too lazy to get in the car and go to the grocery store, or, I'll add it to my, my grocery delivery list later. And then you go to get into the kitchen, go into the pantry again for the thing, and now you're out of it. And you're like, well, shit, like I settled and I just put it off too long, and now I don't have the thing that I need. So I'm really feeling like your angels and guides are saying to you at this time, the Divine Dream Team is like not messing around. Don't sit on your laurels. Don't, like, yes, you've got a lot of things, acknowledge what you've got, but don't let that be the reason that you sit back and don't take action, right? This is a time, I feel like January is a time of action and movement forward. And I want to say doing the hard things, doing the uncomfortable thing, the thing that you keep putting off because you're like, ugh, this is the month to do it. Because if you don't, it's gonna get 3 times as bad as you move forward. But I also feel like it's just gonna, the opportunity to address it is gonna keep coming at you, and it's gonna get a little more intense every single time. So, take control of it while you have it, right? Rather than, I like to say the universal rug being pulled out from under you. Now it's 3 times worse than what it would have been had you just addressed it in the first place. So don't put things off. Circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now? And is it positive or negative? Interesting. Yes, your emotions. I want to say it's like Aquarius, I feel like this is the month for you to not be afraid to connect with the heart space. In fact, I feel like it's a must. Connecting that King of Cups energy, it's scorpionic, it's Piscean. It really means like I've been down the deep dark well. I've been down that path. I know what's there. So I'm not completely afraid of it, or I have a healthy fear of it, but I don't let that stop me from doing what it is that I need to do. I don't let it stop me from living my life. I'm feeling like the King energy, it's really encouraging for you that leadership, but it's like leadership of self. You're good in groups. That's one of your specialties. You're good with your, circle of friends. You're good with community. You're good with being distracted by other people's stuff. King of Cups is saying, okay, be a leader of your own destiny. Be a leader of your own healing. Be a leader of your own thoughts. Pick and choose the thoughts that are going to be healthy for you and release the ones that are not. Again, this is part of that hermit journey, is really getting to know the self, what it is that you want and need in relation to who you're choosing to be. King of Cups made a choice. I'm going to be this type of king, or I'm going to be that type of king. They're very deliberate in their choices. So be deliberate in your choices. And don't be afraid to feel as a result. That's part of what has gotten you into this, place of needing the healing in the first place, is cutting it off before you've had the opportunity to really delve into what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. This isn't an admonition. Like, I'm not trying to admonish you here. We all have these moments. It doesn't matter what sign you are. We all have these moments where we, try and defer and deflect from ourselves, because the feelings are rough, they're hard, they're difficult. But this is the month where I feel like you're going to have a lot of support in looking at it and in moving forward and doing what needs to be done. But the difficult part is for you to do the deep dive, to do the hard look, and to be honest about it. And it's not about honesty with other people. I mean, that plays a part. The big key is being honest with yourself about it. Because when you cut it off beforehand, it was to protect yourself. And you went into protect mode. Well, now that protect mode is harming you. It's keeping you in the past. We had the six of cups. That's 8 of wands. There we go. It's keeping you in the past. But the past is not where you really want to be. The past is not going to get you to what it is that you're seeking out. Hopes and fears about changing. What are you dreaming of becoming, and what scares you about actually doing it? So your biggest dream is to be enlightened, to be fully connected to who you are as a person, and to have perspective that is valued out in the world. You have a lot to offer. You have so many different ideas, and I feel like your heart is big, but you don't always let the heart show in those ways that others can see it and understand it. And I feel like this is talking about, we're really focused on you today in January, but I feel like this is setting you up for how you're going to be able to let that big heart out in the collective, in the real world, in your community. Again, you do have a lot to offer, but it's going to stay stuck inside. It's going to be inverted. You're not really going to be able to shine it out until you've understood it, until you've, I want to say, spent the hard night with the friend who drank too much and is going to have a wicked hangover in the morning, and you're holding back their hair while they're vomiting in the toilet, right? You're putting the cold compress on the back of their neck. You're just being there to help them out, right? So this is like doing that for yourself. And I don't mean to say you're going to be like you're drinking too much and there's a hangover. I feel more like this is about the stuff that's been stuffed down is coming to the surface. And it doesn't have to take you down. You don't have to get lost in your ocean of emotion, but you do need to have perspective. You do need to look at it in a number of different ways so that you can release it, so that it no longer influences how you're moving forward. That just feels huge, like just huge to me. So really important that you understand that you can have all the things that you want. Enlightenment can be yours. But sometimes that means having to hang upside down for a while until you've, cleared your energy, until you've received clarity around what it is that you're really doing, what it is that you're really wanting. And that's what January is bringing. Oops. So this is your outcome. If you stay on course in January, who will you be on the other side? What is the result of embracing the full cycle of death and rebirth? I love this. Being faced with the choice to move to the next level. I love that this is coming after the Hanged Man, because the Hanged Man is that pause, that limbo. I can't move forward. I'm stuck until I unstuck myself. I'm stuck until there's something that shifts or changes. And then when that shift or change happens, now I can get unstuck. And I feel like the Judgment is the call to action. Are you ready? Have you done the cycle enough? Do you feel like you need one more kick at the can, or are you ready to graduate? Are you ready for that next adventure? Moving on to level 4 from level 3, or level 6 from level 5. Maybe you're skipping a couple of levels. Maybe you've done the work and you're proud of it and you're skipping a few levels. But this is coming whether you're ready for it or not. If you don't do the work, then maybe this is not necessarily going to be something that you feel that you can answer. And no judgment, no judgment on that. If you do feel you need one more kick at the can, you're going to get it. But remember what I said, everything is accelerated for you. So you're just going to keep getting the message, or getting the lesson until you're ready to say yes and to answer the call. So I want to say this whole month is designed to get you to be in that space of saying, yes, I'm ready to answer the call. Don't be afraid to say yes, but do the work that gets you to the place where you're comfortable saying, yes, I'm ready. I can do this. Wow. Okay, Aquarius. So that is your transformational tarot reading for January of 2026. If you need some support, click on the link below, book a session with me. You know where to find me. Also, it is still year in preview season and year in transformation season. If you want a predictive sneak peek into what's coming up for you in 2026 so you can better prepare and understand, when these things are coming up for you, I would highly recommend booking a year in preview session. You'll really enjoy it. I pull a card for each month and we go in depth into what's coming up for each month for you. I have a few spots left for that. And also, if you are, big time into this is my year to change things up and to align myself to my goals, and you want to find out how you're transforming and what your soul is here to do in 2026, then I highly recommend the Year in Transformation service. Super powerful. You get an in-depth card reading, you get a channeling direct from your guides and the archangels. You get reflective questions. You get a customized affirmation to use throughout the year. The list goes on and on and on. It's so much information and you won't be disappointed. Until I see you guys for another episode of Black Feather Couture, Divining a VIP Life, sending you guys so much love, so much support. We will see you on the flip side and transform well.